Episode 4. The Sabbath in the New Testament. Still binding. One of the most powerful proofs that the Sabbath remains binding for New Testament Christians is found in Hebrews 4:9. There remaineth therefore a rest to the people of God. The Greek word for rest here is sabbatismos, and it literally means Sabbath keeping. This verse, written long after Christ's resurrection, proves beyond question that the Sabbath was not abolished. It remains. Hebrews 4 draws directly from creation. Verse 4 says, "For he spake in a certain place of the seventh day on this wise, and God did rest the seventh day from all his works." This takes us back to Genesis chapter 2:2-3, when God rested, blessed, and sanctified the seventh day. It wasn't Moses who instituted the Sabbath. It was God himself, before sin, before a Jew existed. The Sabbath was never temporary. It was eternal from the beginning. The argument that Christ is our rest, and therefore we no longer need the Sabbath, is not biblical. Hebrews chapter 4:9 doesn't say the Sabbath was replaced with a spiritual experience. Instead, it emphasizes that the literal keeping of the Sabbath, sabbatismos, remains for the people of God. That word is used nowhere else in the New Testament, and it cannot be spiritualized away. It is literal Sabbath observance. Jesus also spoke prophetically about the Sabbath's endurance. In Matthew 24:20, he instructed his followers to pray that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. This warning was for a time nearly 40 years after his resurrection, indicating that he expected the Sabbath to still be in effect. Why would he say that if he had abolished it? The apostles themselves kept the Sabbath after Jesus returned to heaven. In Acts 13:42-44, Paul preached on the Sabbath in the synagogue, and the Gentiles begged him to preach again, not the next day, but the next Sabbath. In Acts 17:2, Paul reasoned from the scriptures 3 Sabbath days with the people. In Acts 18:4, he reasoned every Sabbath. These were not ceremonial laws or temporary customs. This was the moral law of God, honored by those who followed Jesus. Nowhere in the New Testament is Sunday ever declared holy. The handful of references to the first day of the week, such as Acts 27 or 1 Corinthians chapter 16:2, never refer to it as the Sabbath, nor do they include any command to rest or worship. They are descriptive, not prescriptive, and none of them replace the command in Exodus 20 to remember the seventh day. The argument that Jesus' resurrection changed the Sabbath to Sunday has no biblical support. God never changes his law to honor events. He institutes ordinances for that. Baptism honors the resurrection, not a new day of worship. The Lord's Supper honors the cross, not the first day of the week. God's holy day remains unchanged. Under the new covenant, God promises to write his law in our hearts and minds. Hebrews 8:10. Which law? The very one spoken by God himself and written with his own finger on stone, including the Sabbath. He didn't erase it. He internalized it. Grace does not erase obedience, it empowers it. Isaiah 66:22-23 says that in the new heavens and new earth, all flesh shall worship God from one Sabbath to another. This is post-resurrection in eternity. If the Sabbath is eternal, then it cannot be optional now. The New Testament does not erase the Sabbath, it affirms it. Jesus honored it. The apostles kept it. Hebrews confirms it. Prophecy establishes it. God's remnant church will be identified by obedience to it. The Sabbath remains.